That's how
But yeah,
syphilis
Lyme
is.
disease sucks.
That's how
Yeah.
syphilis is.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't that. Just Lyme.
I'd rather have syphilis.
Is that curable?
Oh, big time. Like
Yeah.
penicillin shot
Oh,
to the
big
ass.
time.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Maybe
was
it's better.
it was I've told these guys the story before, but like last time I had what was I getting that antibiotic shot for that I gave myself? Anyway, I went for last antibiotic shot I got. I
Was it
injected
strep throat?
Yeah, something like that. Whatever it was, I injected myself, and it's a big fat shot of penicillin. But I remember thinking, like, this will cure anything I might have. Penicillin's such a great thing. If there was an end time, you'd want to lay your hands on some penicillin, right?
Yeah.
Because
Figure out how to
anytime you
make-
got a little sniffle, you just fucking hit yourself with a big wad of it.
How hard would it be to make? It's from mushrooms, right?
Well, it's from
Fungus?
mold on bread.
Mold.
But
Yeah.
I think there's I saw this thing the other day. It's really neat on Reddit. Someone made this card. It's like the size of an index card, but it has everything you would want to have if you're going back in time. Like if you were a time traveler going back in time, it's like all the shit you'd want. Lots of formulas and instructions to create things, like the basics of some engineering stuff, lots of mathematical formulas. And it was all on this little index card.
That's all a waste of time unless you can convince the first group of people you come across that you are not a witch, wizard, warlock, some form of magic man.
Depends how far back you go.
Well, let's get real. Let's say you go back the year 7.
Shit, Taylor. We can't even speak to these people.
Let's say that's not a part of it. Let's say you have a thing on your throat that translates.
I brought my Professor Hawking is here, who speaks Aramaic.
No, it's something you wear on your neck, like Futurama.
The batteries are gonna die, Taylor.
It's solar powered.
You know, the wattage was different in that day. The sun.
Fine.
Oh, God, right.
Taylor, the ozone layer was completely intact.
Yeah, that's how cool I am.
No, yeah, we've seen just the language, the way it's changed when you go back to Old English, it's still kind of English, but not really. We would barely be able to understand someone in the 16th, 15th century, something like that.
Yeah.
I think.
Have you seen that video? That guy, that like language expert of like English, just like doing the different accent through the years. Mm-hmm. Some of them, I don't know what that guy was saying. It was really,
I know
it was
exactly
really
the
remarkable.
video. Like there's a point at like 1620 or something. I'm probably getting the year wrong. It was around 1600s where you're like
wild.
You're basically like, all right, I can understand what he's saying it, but he's saying it all goofy. And then just like 40 years before that, 60 years, like they're like 1560, and it's like, I don't show you. And it's like, oh my god, like how frustrating would it have been to have like your grandparents in that generation, and you're in the cogent and clear English one. Obviously, that's not how it actually worked in reality, but you think about it that way. So 1620, that's about as far back as you can go, I think.
I wonder if the new version of English, the one that's closer to us and we understand, was considered like Ebonics, like, you don't speak properly, you're making up this new thing.
Like what we have.
I know there were periods of Reformation where, there was a period of time when they came up with a spelling for words and standardized that. I've been watching this YouTube channel that does ancient battles. So I was watching something about a battle between Poland and Moldavia over some little valley. And Taylor, they had war wagons.
Oh, that's fun.
The Polish had war wagons. They're wagons with guys in them with guns, basically, and they're kind of covered up to their chest with the wagon, and they're able to like pop out and shoot. And that was a big part of how the Polish won, that and cavalry. But it's kind of neat because we walks you through a history lesson of why the battle was fought and sort of the overarching themes. Oh, this prince was mad at this king, and the sultan thought this, etc. And then he kind of breaks the battle down piece by piece, moving pieces around like a Total War game or something. I like those videos a lot. We never had anything like that in school. It was like my favorite parts of history was that stuff about ancient Greece and Rome and stuff, but I feel like that was just 10th grade.
Yeah, that was the only class, I've said it before, in high school that like I looked forward to was ancient history. And it was because the teacher was genuinely good and he gave a shit, and he was clearly very into this stuff, like the kind of guy that like would be giving a lesson and then like go off on a tangent about the Spartans, and before you know it, he's like, oh, we're not even going to get to the rest of the stuff I was supposed to talk about today because like this part's it was always enjoyable. It was like, this is neat. We're going to talk about the Assyrians today. We're going to talk about how their culture differed from this and that, and it's like even wrapping your head around that many thousands of years ago, people still like going to a little shop and like having exchanges, seeing that crazy like cuneiform tablet from like 6,000 years ago that is a complaint about the wrong grade of copper being shipped. Yep. And it's like the first customer service complaint. And it's like, translated is literally like, do you take me as a fool, good sir? And it's like that kind of thing. Like, this is not the agreed upon copper grading. Had I known, I would never have wasted my time nor sent Noah with his riders to achieve and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is
when
so
you
wild.
read something like that, it's really interesting because that's a guy just like us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a guy just like us who got some bad copper, and the only thing that separates, you could plunk him down in our world and he'd do just fine. He just needs to figure out how to use an iPhone.